I just wanted to be accountable and let's set the record straight. And he said, you're going to be getting a call from Nintendo. Answer it. I said, oh, okay. And they said, well, we have a game title we would like you to create a brand for. Are you into that? Would you be able to do that? I go, what is this? And he says, it's a pocket monster. This is your heart is your whole mind in this whole process.
Chris, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you taking the time today. Thank you.
Most welcome.
Now, it's 2025 and I pretty much live and breathe Pokemon personally. I live stream all the time about Pokemon. So when I found out that you were the person behind the Pokemon logo that's been on everything from game boxes to lunch boxes and everything in between, I felt like I had to reach out. Now, the logo itself is such a massive part of what made Pokemon iconic. But before it became such a global symbol, it was just a project on your desk. Are you able to take me back to when that first came across on your desk?
Yeah, I could tell you a brief history in that. Let's see. The structure of my business was that I kind of turned into, just from sake of trying to get good work to the right high-profile clients, not being able to access them, realizing later that it was not that I wasn't doing or offering good services or possibly a great portfolio, but that they had these functions where people wanted, if something went sideways, they could always just say, I hired the best people, I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
So I thought, oh, I can't get past the ceiling. So what I did was I thought, well, if I can get a chance to get in and just talk to somebody and prove to them that they can keep their relationship and I can still do my job, and then I'll just go away. How's that? And everyone's happy, you know.
It's a win-win.
And I'll deliver the assets to the design firm or the advertising firm. Got an opportunity. It was with Holland America Lines, and so I did that, and it worked out really well. And it just kept repeating itself. Rinse and wash, rinse and wash. So down the line, it kind of caught on to other businesses, larger businesses, and they would say, hey, this guy's kind of interesting, try him.
Oh, wow.
And so I got to go to different large or higher level job markets right away. And I felt instantly that possibly what I needed to do is not hire a bunch of people and get all excited, but to basically tap down to what I would end up being, which is maybe 3 or 4 people, hired them on what they like to do, not what they could do. And the people that I didn't know, I would learn from them,
Yeah.
and vice versa. We all cross-pollinated, very intense. Everyone, I had one rule, just had to be accountable and come on in. And that's a big word, big word. And it's level playing field. Everybody had a chance to dance. It was a really intense creative thing, and it grew. So the benefits to the companies we worked for was that we could outperform larger agencies. Oh, wow. And that way we would bring the bar up to where they were, if not past it, but then also speed. Yeah. Which everybody wants something right away, right? That kept going, and we just tightened it down. And one day I got a call from an agency, a big agency, a design firm in Seattle. A friend of mine was the owner, and he said, you're going to be getting a call from Nintendo. Answer it.
No doubt.
I said, oh, okay. Nintendo who? Nintendo of America. Oh, one of my kids' games. I think, I think it's in Nintendo of America. So I got a call like an hour later, and someone's asking me to come. Can I come in tomorrow? And I said, sure. What's up? And they said, well, we have a game title we would like you to create a brand for. Are you into that? Would you be able to do that? We hear that you guys can do things pretty quickly and good, or at high level anyway. And so went in there, and next day, and this different kind of a culture because all the other businesses are structured almost like all the churches are the same, right? This one was different. And, it's like two-story, business office. Okay, walk in the front door, get in, sit down. It's just a different
Okay.
feeling. I think, what's going on here? Sitting in this little corner room, it's kind of dark in this little cove, on these blue seats, and looking at this beautiful crystal head of a horse. It's about 21 inches high, sitting on a blue pedestal. Just going, yeah, this is a different
This
place.
is a different, yeah,
So
different scene.
this is a different place. So somebody comes and gets me and takes me upstairs, and I go into this room, and there's a long business table, chairs around it, dark, two people sitting, two people sitting at the very end, and Mr. Arkawa comes in a side door and sits down, way down there, and he introduces himself, and he nods to one of his assistants to take this box, this cardboard box, down to me, and just I look at it, and then she dumps it on the table, and it's a bunch of toys and paper. It's like papers of what, and there's sketches on it, and I look at it carefully and always try to read things like it's almost like it's a goofy thing to say, but almost like a business psychic would or
Yeah.
something. I just start, oh, what is this puzzle? What is it saying? And I go, what is this? And he says, it's a pocket monster. And I went, oh, why do you call it
What
that?
is that? Yeah.
He goes, yeah, what is it? He goes, it's a game we want to develop, and we don't have a lot of time. The people before you uh, didn't quite get it done, and so we have no time, and they've eaten up the budget pretty good. So are you open to do this? And I said, it was intriguing, Sam. So I went, okay.
Yeah. How old were you at the time? Sorry.
Oh, let's see. That was 1998, so I think maybe 30,
Wow.
something
Yeah,
like
that's cool.
that. 32. But anyway, yeah, so I was like, what I do when I go to a cold call like this is I try to bring him as much information, structure it on the spot with the person I'm dealing with that I can, because they're always wanting something quick, or at least, it's kind of our brand to bring it back kind of above the bar, and I was going to say par, and also have other solutions that support it. In other words, the accountability that I instilled in all of us at the shop, I basically had to wash in my own soap. So I had to, I had to be accountable. I learned that from being in front of people that with a piece of artwork. Here's my picture of my bunny. What do you think? Oh, good Lord! Don't ask anybody what they think. Do you like it? That's even a worse question. And now I have to justify it. How do you justify it? A subliminal piece of work. So it's just like, that's why I always feel sorry for people who run restaurants. How do you make money? So, um, so anyway, in an accountable sense of the game, I look at the products in front of me and I ask him, so why the hurry? What's the deadline? I mean, what's the hurry? He says, well, we have to get it out at a certain time because right now the yen is kind of faltering. I guess they were having a kind of their own recession at that time, and they needed something to boost the company back up with a new title. Plus, they needed to compete with Sony and Atari and people like that. So, and it was kind of an urgency around the fact the E3 show was going to occur. Then all the merchandise and everything else. If I did it right, it had to occur after I got done. So just like 20 people in an elevator just dying to get out, and you're in the way. So so went back to the office and just looked at it and went, wow, this is really different. Game title, okay. So I had no content or anything to go from. So I started looking into it a little bit and some of the things that they left me with. So I took and started just letting my hand kind of draw out things and things that were coming to me from what I was intuiting in the meeting. And since I had a typography background, pretty good one, and I'm an illustrator as
Oh
well,
wow.
and I studied both really intensively because of the demands that were put on us. Somebody has to come up with this style, or somebody. We can't hire a script artist today. Can you do
Yeah.
it? And yeah, you better learn. So keep it in house, make it tight, make it true.
That's good.
Because when you fish something out, like I couldn't fish out the Pokemon logo because it'd be like waiting for someone to figure it out, come back, get it wrong, time wasted. Now you've got 3 days to get it done.
Still got to be done, hasn't it?
So better just yeah, do it yourself. So I basically took about 2 weeks on it, came up with about 30 different versions, threw most of those away, came down to 5, threw most of those away, took 3 and elaborated on a few of those, and that's what I sent you. I also sent you, Sam, some of the original sketches I was doing that the speak's coming from.
I've been
And
looking through them. As a Pokemon fan, as an adult Pokemon fan, it's probably the coolest set of images I've ever been sent in my life. I'm just fanboying on that.
Of all the things I have to clear out drives, move around, whatever, I didn't lose those things.
Yeah, you're doing well.
For some reason, it was always, they hung around. So
Wow.
all of that work was done I did all the work on a traditional light table that photographers use. And I just threw vellum on top, thick vellum, used a hard mechanical pencil, ellipse guides. First, I should back up a little bit and say, first I just sketch it out freehand, throw the ellipse guides on and see if there's any kind of thing I can follow with the energy. Use some of those, some more energy, throw out this U, put another E in, take that E out, put this P in, that P is wrong. Okay, all the rest of it's correct, the P's wrong. What? Okay, fix the P. Now all the rest of it's wrong. Okay,
Wow.
on we go.
And just to jump in there, when you're doing that process of the P's wrong, the E's wrong, the uppercase, lowercase, and all the different typography of it, do you look at it and you're like, there's just something wrong and I need to, you just keep going until you fix it, as it were, I guess?
Yeah, it's almost like you're blind and you're cutting grass with a pair of scissors. You hit a little high spot and you go, whoop, what's this?
Oh, wow.
So it's really this is your heart is your whole mind in this whole process. This guy's just sitting around for the ride going, oh my God, this is so hard. So, but your heart's going for it. So keep that process up, keep it up. So I had a meeting coming up. I had to go to it with at least 5 examples. I had the one Pokemon that I sent you today, which uses inside the P and the E kind of a hook claw versus the regular traditional perforation like you'd see in a P or an E. I had that one scheduled out, and then the rest. I sat down in a meeting with the people that were going to run the whole show, Don James and Gail Tilden, who was a VP at that time.
Of
and,
Nintendo.
Nintendo, and Lance, Lance Barr, B-A-R, who was my creative director at Nintendo. So we were all sitting around. Okay, here's the big moment. It's like you're with the guys in the in the elevator. I think this will open the door. And Don James, who was he was the head lead. Don just left Nintendo about, I guess, last summer. I didn't know.
Wow, he's still
been
there
a long time. He was a killer. So Don, I was looking at my examples. Everyone's nodding, kind of looking and shoving around the table. That's a bad sign. So they're just looking at him and they're going, "Oh, look at that. That's interesting." Making a little bit of laughter. Oh, okay. And this is subjective.
Yeah,
this
right.
is subjective warfare. But it's sitting there going, And so I interrupt them in their examination time, and I say, I kind of like all these. I think any of them would probably do, but for the most part, to be accountable about the whole situation, I don't think I'd use any of them. And they just went, what? I said, but I do like this one.
Right.
And I brought this out and put it down, the one that I just mentioned to you, Sam. And they went, and now they're aghast. No joking, no pointing, no scratching, just looking. I'm going, okay, this might be good. And then Don James, our lead, he looks up and he goes, this is it. He goes, get it published. He pushes away from the table and we're off.
Wow.
And so everybody was like, okay, I need,
what now?
The creative director, Lance is, okay, I need this, I need this, I need this, I need this. and it's all got to be in Illustrator because Japan doesn't expect anything in Photoshop. It's got to be in Illustrator. And we got to try it on the game. So we tried it on all the platforms. It was built for the Game Boy, yellow and blue, and eventually went over to color
Oh wow.
at that time. But those were the two platforms I was supposed to present it on. And so I did in the 8-bit environment, and see the logo go. I did that before I brought it in case they did like it. I put it in their Game Boy, and it looks like hell. Oh, sorry guys. Well, I gotta catch the bus. So it all had to work everywhere, and big, small TV,
Pixelated
all
and
that,
yeah.
everything, yeah. And then also the main thing, my concern in regards to something like this, to answer your earlier question, Sam, how do you know when you got it right, or does it feel wrong and then it feels right? When you know you have it, and I can be accountable for it in front of them to say, I wouldn't use any of those, I'd use this one, is that it takes on a theme of kind of a timeless nature. And you know that's, you've hit you've knocked the little ball into the little hole. And it's gone, and you go, wow, it fits in the hole. So now you know it's a timeless piece. And then you can go forward and you can, like a good parent, support your child.
Yeah.
And so,
Oh wow.
that being said, it went to the show. Everything was great, and you can still see that logo with that little claw mark in it. If you Google, in fact, on my site, you can see it in a Game Boy I drew. You can ship the first screen I made. You can see it working.
Wow.
2 months later, Mr. Akab brought me back in. He says, "Can you alter the logo?" Which is like, if you ever said that to a carpenter, they get in their van and leave. But I'm just like, oh, really? It's like, take the sledge to the stained glass, you say. Are you sure about this? Yeah, I am sure about this. Oh, well, he goes, it's basically like this. He goes, I want you to change it, but don't change it. I said, right.
Perfect client.
That became a theme. That became a theme throughout my career. Can you change this but not change it? Yes, I can. So I did as least damage as possible, trying to kind of get it back into the same energy that you see today. This is the mark that you see today everywhere, this one. And so that was done. And the reason, this is a little bit of history, I asked him, why are we doing this? It's like, and he goes, well, I was a little concerned at the show. Someone was giving me some heat about Pac-Man. I said, Pac-Man? I said, it looks nothing like Pac-Man. He goes, I know, just do it, okay? I said, okay. Of course, it's a challenge. When someone says something, it usually means it can be done. Instead of, no, I will not do that.
Yep.
There's a lot of illustrators I work with that would say, no, I will not do that. That's why I learned to illustrate and expanded styles out 6 that I've shown you on preview today, Sam. But that's a little bit of a long way of getting to your answer of how did you get this job?
That is fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. I think, well, hearing that for the first time is really, really interesting. I've got more questions than I'd prepared, just off the back of listening to this, which is hopefully all right for you.
You're great.
When they first tip that box out and give you all them paperwork, all the different bits of paper and things, what could you see? What can you explain? Or from what you remember, what was it? Was it in Japanese? Was it like
Yes.
What was it?
Yeah, it was in all the writings and the sketching. The sketching had an anime style to it,
Oh, cool.
But it was really rough. It was not the anime you see today. It was not developed. It took on its own life after the publication that Gail Tilden started up. She had 2 there. One was called Nintendo World, I think, and the other one was Pokemon. I forget what the title was. I have a first edition. I should send that to you after the show, Sam, so you can post it.
Yeah, let's see that.
Because on the cover is the logo. They just did a typeface logo because it hadn't been created yet, but they had to get the thing out. They had to get it going.
Wow.
And so you turn the page on the first edition, and then the logo appears on the inside.
Oh wow.
So I'll show you that just for giggles.
Great.
You can also see it on my site. So yeah, the interpreting the toys on the in front of you in the situation in a dark
Mhm.
room with just toys sitting in front of you seemed counterintuitive to a business meeting. Um, Looking at the sketches, first thing I said was, I can help this guy,
Yeah.
draw better. So, but I didn't realize it was a style to be. Um, the toys were intriguing because they were made in Japan, somewhere, but they had a very creative look and feel to them. All the if you went into Toys R Us and looked at the stuffed animal aisle, you'll see horses and dogs and
Mm.
things that are familiar to the farm. These things were not. They weren't dinosaurs either. Whoa, that was really standing out. And that's where I asked him. I left this out. I'm sorry, Sam. I asked him about the game a little bit, and he said, "Well, the one creature have these claws. They fight, And I said, "Oh, okay. That's where the hook came into the Pokemon
Ah.
logo." So that answers
Oh,
that
that makes
question.
sense. That loops back. That was one of the questions I was going to ask, so that's good. Um, when when you were or when they proposed the idea to you, did they say the name? Obviously, you said it was Pocket Monsters. Did they say the name of the Western side is Pokemon, and with the apostrophe above the e? Did they say any of that side of things, or how did that come out?
Yeah, they did bring that up. He said Pocket Monster, and then someone kind of led off to me and said, "We're going to change it to Pokemon,"
Hmm.
and it's got a asterisk on the top of it. Um, and I asked them typical questions like all lowercase
Mm.
because I see this example here looks all lowercase and a big K.
I can't imagine that.
Anyway, no, they said no, I got it. Then they said no, no, we want something that's ours. It's original. We're going to take this in the future with. I said, where's it going to be distributed? They said, we're first. It's going to be in America and or actually America, North America and Europe is what they said to me.
Wow. Okay.
So
So North America and Europe. Okay, and it's gone a bit further than that now, hasn't it? It really has. Um, with the designs and the everything that you were then building, how did you already have people in the people that you were working with? Did you say, right, this person's going to do this bit, we're going to do this, or was it all you just sitting down and like I'm taking over this?
it was all me because, but what I do because of the way I talked about the agency structure, the little
Hmm.
four
Hmm.
of us, is I said, I've got this job. I want you to use this as an exercise of something really odd to do, and I want you all to work on it. And when you get to 5 examples, stop.
Okay.
And so they did, and they wouldn't work, of course, because this was out of their comfort
Hmm.
zone. But I thought, great opportunity to take them out of their comfort
Mm.
zone. I was sole creator on it.
That's really interesting. Okay. Did you because I know the Japanese logo. I see it almost every day with the Japanese stuff that the content I do. That's more red and different things. But the
Uh huh.
did you come up with a color palette as well? Was that the blue and the yellow? Was that on your side?
That's why I sent you that one picture of me testing
Yeah.
colors. Uh, yeah, and you can see all the different colors I used. I was trying palettes, and here again, for the different reason, or for the same reason, sorry, Sam, that when you hit it right, you can feel that you've just hit a kind of a holistic point of view, which is going to last. And I thought all the different backgrounds, because I had some older titles and things that I was looking at and placing it on in the computer and looking at it, going, no, 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 marries it to it, no, no, got to contrast it. They don't have any of this. This is going to be this is going to have to be it. And so I broke it down into the blue and yellow. I tested the shades. I graduated it. Um, I tried out different yellows with the final design. Um, Put it under stress to the point to where the colors that you see that I showed you, well, you can see them on my site anyway. Those are the true colors. They vary depending on who sent the files, what quality they get to produce,
Hmm.
etc. But usually, if it's a product from Pokemon International, it's going to be pretty straight up on the dot. Or Nintendo. Nintendo doesn't deal with it
Yeah.
anymore.
Oh,
So
that's interesting. And did you work with them once you'd done that? Did you work? I've seen a picture, so I know the answer to a degree. But how much did you work with
mhm.
Nintendo after that?
Well, I worked with Nintendo. Well, after the project, after I secured it on all the devices and showed it on different boxes and things and displays, they have mock stores in Nintendo where you can walk in,
Oh
or one
wow.
of their customers, like Kmart, could walk in the old Kmart, or Toys R Us could walk in the old Toys R Us and walk in. And they go, and they'd say, "This is why we want our stuff displayed. This is the way it should be displayed." And they had a little mock store in
Oh
there.
wow.
So employees used to go in there and they used to buy things for their kids because they had a real checkout
Yeah.
stand. And so you can buy a shirt that doesn't fit. There you go. So, but it went on for about, oh, Pokemon phased out after the second version, about 2 months after that, because a lot of the background work had already been figured out. And then the publication, they brought some people in. They had some people in Japan that were trying to kind of take that over. It was a tug of war between uh, Japan and America, who gets what to
Oh
do
wow.
what. Um, but it was Mr. Alcao's brainchild, and Gail Tilden had a lot to do with the success of the distribution of the brand under Don James, and of course Lance Barr, who was creative director in this situation. So um, about, I'd say all in all, my tenure is about 6, 8 months.
Oh wow.
What happened is they started passing me into other
Uh-huh.
titles and different games like Mischief Makers, Ken Griffey Jr. game, and a few more Star Wars. Um, can you do this? Can you do this? Can you do this? It's like do that to this, do that to this, do that to this. Okay, okay,
That's
okay.
cool.
And then eventually they have some other companies that they were sister companies. One created the barcode for retail. It was called Cyrus.
Wow.
And I didn't know that. I was like, and sitting in the meeting talking to, I mean, they just like staff, the president, the vice president, the director, they'd been in their chairs for about a month when I met them. And they were like, we got to do all this stuff. And I just got back from this whirlwind tour of these factories where your returns go for, like, say, Black and Decker. I saw a mountain of weed whackers. It was amazing. And they said, we got to stop this. And what happened, what they did was they wanted to make, they wanted to make it so if you bought um, your N64 game at GameStop, you couldn't take it back to Sears or wherever. You had, it would say, that's not ours.
Ah.
Oh,
Oh yeah, of course.
so that was, yeah. And so I did all the promotions for them, and that was kind of interesting. Then Lance Barr had me work on another project, was to create a portal with Lotus as the, and because it's big time there, I get to talk to Mr. Lotus. It was kind of cool. All the text is right there. You don't have to dial and sit on the phone for 45 minutes. No, they're right there. Here's my personal number. It's probably going to beep when I'm on a beeper though, for back then. But uh, yeah, we built a portal. And it was kind of the first of its kind, but Lotus wanted to do this because it was kind of a little star in their portfolio. Lance wanted me to design the interface with the Nintendo characters from Mario and everything else, and uh, Yoshi, um, like the Star Trek Enterprise Council.
Okay. Oh wow.
And so here's another peanut butter and chocolate story. Okay, did it. I should send you screenshots of that too
That would be
later,
fun to see. Yeah,
because
please.
it was one of a kind. For back then, it was really advanced. Of course, I had a cheat. I had a contact with Lotus, but it worked. It really
Really.
worked, and it was encrypted. It was great. They could order from it. They could get their points from larger order. They had all this stuff going on inside it. It was really quite
Yeah, that is.
cool for back then. Nothing else was, because the internet was pretty wobbly still. So
Yeah, it's still pretty early days, wasn't it? For sure.
I started creating some of the creatures in 3D and putting the logo on them to show them what it could look like in
Oh
3D
wow.
before I stopped working on it. And they said, "Oh, we're going to take it over from here." I said, "Okay," because I didn't create the drawings of the creatures. I had to true them up
Hmm.
from rough sketches to see how they looked in 8-bit with the logo. So if I get this Pikachu that changes form, looks like they're from different families, put them into a general category of what this is a Pikachu looks like, and then put that and try to make that and put it on one of their boxes with some of their blessed graphics and see how that looks.
That's really one of the things I've always sort of wondered, just out of curiosity, is I'm not an artist, so excuse me. But on the side that you've just mentioned there, of how do you make? Do you have to make like 4 or 5 different Pikachu's? Because there's a there might be slightly different angles and stuff to say this is what it should look like, and then you've got that because one picture probably isn't enough to show you what as you say a 3D Pikachu should look like. And I know it's changed over the years anyway. I've seen it develop and it's gone bigger and smaller and stuff. But is there like part of the process like that where they need that where it's like this is the true character of Pikachu or whatever the characters are?
Yeah, so I wondered about that
Mm.
too, Sam. So what I did was I got out some of my old Disney drawing
Hmm.
books, and I looked at how they would start off a
Yeah.
character. And I thought, well, I'll try to do this. I'm going to look here and I'm going to draw
Hmm.
here and see if this creature can take what it looks like when it's scared, what it looks like when it's moping, things like that, and or when its eyes get
Yeah.
big or something like this. So just passing that along to say, look, I proved that this could be the shape. And they just went, okay, thank you, bye.
Yeah.
Wait,
Please.
no. So they're building a team,
Yeah.
so they're trying to empower the team there, which is smart. Back
Yeah.
then, companies were hiring out for talent. Well, the trend was over the next 10 years to bring it in house. It survived that way for about 7 years, then it went back outside again
Mm. Mm.
because of
Mm.
confusion and the lack of quality and
Hmm.
performance.
Hmm.
So we still stayed back there and survived through the whole thing because here again we're the extinguisher on the wall, so you could always pull it off.
How did it feel
Um,
when you're making these drawings and they pull it away and they're like we're keeping it in house. This is thank you. And how did that feel?
it's part of what you should be used to, is letting it go. Because if you're really going to do something really, really, really great, that meaning that it fits all these criteria and it's accountable in all these regard to this conversation, you have to keep in mind the whole time that you're doing this as kind of an outsider.
Mm.
You're viewing it as the receiver, and you absolutely are giving it away
Really? Yeah, that makes sense.
the whole time. I'm giving this away. I'm giving this away. This is to be given away, and you turn your ego mechanism into the flip side and say, "I'm empowered by this being accepted, by the fact that it's being used, and and other people are taking it and evolving it like they should."
That's a an incredible mindset and has got has got you very far because I don't as you say if you can't let go of it or something you don't have a choice. There's no choice. You have to anyway. So you have to get over it, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I would say that's a little different idea about that is, of late, I started doing variations off my own core example.
Okay.
And I did variations under the same strict um, accountability that I would put myself or anyone else
Uh-huh.
through if it was given to me to do by another.
Okay.
So here again, I have to step out as the other to do the variation on it to see if it can be varied. I was curious to see how it would evolve if I was to evolve
Right.
it, what it would look like. So,
Okay.
and I felt it was responsible for me to do that because I did it in the first place. Not that it was mine, it's that I understood the infrastructure of
Hmm.
it enough and the thought process is you never leaves your mind. Um, and so now what do you say? Mary had a little, okay, lamb? How's that? You know? So you can continue it and structure it out.
And how's that?
So
How did that look? What did you come across there?
I sent you some examples.
Right. Okay.
I sent you some
Okay.
examples. They're on T-shirts and things, but I just flew on
That
that
makes
just
sense.
because it's through the years. Occasionally, they would hire somebody to adapt something to it, like "Got to Catch 'Em All" or something, and it's totally wrong, and just fights it. It's like, what's that doing there? You know, it's like you're yeah. It's just like, what's that doing in the house? So,
But that didn't last long either, did it?
um,
The "Gotta catch 'em all" was like a saying for a while, but it's not on their logo anymore anyway. But it's I know it's a saying still in the show, but yeah, that didn't last long.
no, it didn't last long because it was like all things. When something's moving at hyper speed and it speaks for itself, usually it drops all its earrings off and necklaces fly off and all that sort of stuff. All the attachments.
That's true. That is true. With the Was there a point where you thought the concept of the brand that they were building could be anything like as big as it is today? Was there a point maybe when you even designed the logo or what, I don't know when, but was there a point you thought, you know what, this could be absolutely massive if, the masses get on it or whatever?
I had a feeling that it might happen. Um, Everything I do, though, I always think it's Oscar material. It's like, there he is on stage
Thank
today.
you.
But
Yeah.
it's just in my
Yeah, yeah.
mind, right? So, that's my little girl on stage singing that. So it's like, yeah, right, Mister, shut up. So, but I could sense that there was a lot of energy, and the fact that they built up so quickly around it, and it got out so fast. But even then, I just a sense around that place, the seriousness that how they took it so seriously. Usually, when you do something, a website or anything like that, sometimes people grab it and they just take it for granted. These people did not take it for granted. They were just, it's like, holy crap! They put on asbestos gloves, carry it around in the office. So it's like there's something up with
Yeah.
this. It's like it's like burglars that know they're going to score tonight at the bank. It's like, oh no, it's you guys. Thank you very much, Mr. Maple. You can leave. I'm not supposed to see this. No, you're not supposed to see this part.
Wow.
It's like, okay. So yeah, I had an inkling there. This is the whole experience, Sam. From when we started talking, it was always a little different. So
Special.
yeah, it was special.
So I'm just trying to get the timeline in as well. When did you first start working with Tilda as well?
Gail
Gail
Tilden.
Tilden, yeah.
I worked with her. She came in after I had pretty much done the logo. And then I think it was her job to start assembling the brand. So then at that point, you know, it started happening. But I left soon after that because she was always busy gone. She was busy trying to support all these plates in the air. So I just stuck with Don James and Lance mostly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. When you were, I'm in my mind looking at the Pokemon logo. When you were working it out of the capital letters, I've seen it might have been on your website actually, but I've seen somewhere, and apologies if it is on yours, that it
It's all
pointed
right.
out that the consonants are capitals and the vowels are lowercase. Is that just the balance of it? It's every other letter, or was it specifically that? What was the thinking behind that? If you remember.
Yeah, it's a balance of it. That's an easy answer. Also, it was like a family, all the letters, and they were all in mom's
Oh
van.
wow.
So it's like they all fit in there. They're a little different ages, but they all fit in there. They're all personalities, but they all stick together and they create this energy. It was kind of it just kind of developed more so that way, Sam. I actually tried, and you can see some of the sketches I gave you. I tried all uppercase. I even tried one that was in one of the sketches I sent you on a light table. It was really vertical
Damn.
and kind of Darth Vaderish, but I liked it. That's not going to hit the holistic, timeless vein. It was fun, but it wouldn't last. It wouldn't
Yeah.
last.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing as well, isn't it? When I it's easy to look back, isn't it? I look at it now and I'm like, obviously the one that they've chosen, the one that you did, obviously makes the most sense. It's perfect, and the other ones you look at and you're like, there's it's not the same. It does stand out. So it's really cool. Even I don't know if you probably have, but the Chinese Pokemon logo now, same color way, obviously written in Chinese, but it's got the same colorway, which is nice with the yellow and the blue. Um,
Hmm.
which I find interesting that the Chinese has, but the Japanese hasn't. I don't know why they've got different colours. I don't know why they wouldn't do that. Maybe it's I don't know. I don't know if you know that. Do you?
I think it's, I don't know that specifically, but I just think of it like a car engine. It starts leaking oil. So, the logo is like, it's getting old, man. People take and go, huh, I kind of like the color
Yeah, why
red.
not?
You know,
Yeah,
why not? Besides, my boss likes it. It's really probably really silly reasons, but and that's usually what happens, stuff like that. But Nintendo or Pokemon, thank goodness, it became its own entity, so it holds its property intelligence very dear.
yeah.
So
And I can imagine. I bet you've got so many memories because you sent one of the photos over of yourself in front of a computer and your son holding the first ever bit of Pokemon merchandise in the US. Like
yeah,
that is so cool. What a memory for you both to have as well.
yeah, yeah. I walked in to say goodbye to Don. It was Don James, and he's sitting back in his chair, and there's this little yellow thing on his table. He picks it up and throws it at me, and I catch it, and he goes, "Guess what that is?" He tells me, and I go, "Wow, that's cool." He goes, "You want it?" I said, "Sure." He goes, "You can have it. It's okay." He goes, "Job well done."
Wow.
Just get it.
Clear off.
So I got things to do. So like, okay. So I brought that home and gave it to my son, as you would
Yeah, for
have,
sure. And
or daughter.
yes, yeah. And with that, at the time you said that you were working on the new box for the Nintendo. Was that right?
And
N64.
64. It was one of the other jobs. Yeah. And yeah, because they were just like, well, we need this done. They were trying to straighten up the room because Pokemon was so successful that it was shining a big flashlight on them. So, oh, we better fix this. Oh, well, we better fix this too. People are looking at us. And you can't just go, okay, that's good enough. Um, Even though some people made comments that they could sell it in a brown bag because it's so popular or
Hmm.
something. That's not, no, don't do that. People want to own
Yeah.
things. You want to own a piece of something. You don't give them a brown bag. That was a little arrogant statement. Mostly people were really energized and positive about everything. It was really a cool place to work.
Did you ever get any of the card side of things? Did you ever see any of that side of things while you were there?
No, that was developed completely out of my
Mm.
range. Yeah, that took on its own power
Mm.
totally. And I think there was some artist stuff going on there. So I was kind of like, that was not my. I did my job, and so that was their
Stayed in your
turn,
lane, and
kind
yeah.
of thing. Yeah,
Oh well. Okay. Okay. Um, that's really interesting. I guess because of and nowadays the Nintendo and the cards and the comics and everything's all fairly split out, isn't it? So it's loads of different entities as well. Um,
yeah.
was there much pressure to align the logo with the existing Nintendo's branding? Was there anything along that side?
No, it wasn't hard at all because a lot of the titles were pretty different from
Okay.
each other, and Nintendo they called it the racetrack, their logo,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
and it just and it was so plain that it didn't interfere. It was like you know styrofoam in your package. It was just like
Yeah.
neutral, so it was okay. And you could stick it on stuff, and it was like, oh, there's one. Just as long as it was in the right color.
Yeah. um,
185 red, folks.
what was the when you were like, or actually looking back now, is there anything that would you have attacked it any different way? Not necessarily, what the logo would look like or anything like that, but is there anything that
Hmm.
if you were hired today to do it, is there a different route that you would take, or any different like the business side of what you do? Would that have changed how you attack it today?
I would approach it exactly the same.
That's nice to hear.
And today, when I'm called to do something that I agree upon for the right company, uh, it's exactly the same process. Um, it's yeah, I'll share with you later some of these examples of mad doodling,
Please.
but it's purposeful. It's hieroglyphic. It's no, I'd keep it exactly the same.
Okay.
Um, I don't know, and I would probably come to the same conclusion in regard to color and everything because you can see it's standing up right now, and I would eventually come to that solution again by staying out of my own
Yeah.
way, uh, using the heart of your mind. So, theory.
Yeah, that's yeah. I wouldn't expect any different from the conversation we've had so far, so that's good. um, I when I first originally reached out to you, I'd seen that the recognition globally recently hadn't mentioned yourself and a couple of the other guys that you were working with, which intrigued me for the conversation, just in general anyway. One, to understand why that might be, and also how that might feel for yourself. So I want to sort of dig into that, if that's okay.
Sure, that's a big question.
Sorry.
Um, why did you bring that up for, Sam? Uh, at the time, as I mentioned before, I was hired not to prolificate and advertise myself to and against because they were trying to formulate their own idea on this thing. And me standing there waving a flag behind their head while they're giving a speech, it didn't feel right. It wasn't right. I wanted to keep my relationships good with them. What happened next, Sam, was just life. Um, I was so busy and things were going well. Uh, Trying to grab a PR spot with one of my clients over to the left
Hmm.
here just seemed like I'll put it off. Nah, it's not
Hmm.
necessary. I never, no. And and then after a while, people left, and it was like, well. And then my son, he grows up and he tells me, he calls me and he goes, "Hey, Dad, everyone's taking uh, credit for your work." And he'd show me things, and like this one guy was taking credit for how he colored it,
What?
and all of this stuff. And I'm going, well, I got to do something about that, but right now I'm kind of busy. And so, but I suppose I
Hmm.
should. And then as I get down the line in the years of things, and I realize I kind of stepping out of the high intensity heat of the engine of the cookroom and going to more of a selective area in regard to my actions in the
Yeah.
business world, working for more empathetical capitals, et cetera, blah, 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 um, and marginalized voices and things like
Hmm.
this. And also teaching what I've learned, graphic designers, what's around the corner. I always wondered how to make this work. Am I doing the right concept? You're probably doing the right concept, but don't use concepts. What?
Yeah. Yeah.
Try principles. What are they? I'll show
Mm,
you.
mm.
Um, so after just boiling down the pot a bit, I guess I started thinking, well, maybe I should just lay out a legacy of what I've gone through, make it learnable, teachable, showable. Then Pokemon pops up kind of out of the woodwork. And I go, oh, what about this guy? And I thought, well, I have made, I've always put my best foot forward and never let anything go. I'm the last one to leave the studio, kind of thing, and it just, you know, it's got to be, make sure it's all well. Everything from
Yeah.
packaging a piece has to be perfectly done. And I just thought I should probably go back and reclaim that as an example of another idea of this sort of thing and see how this all links to the same
Hmm.
train. And so doing that was really hard because all the people I work with are
Oh
missing.
no! Wow.
And I found the first person at at the museum, it was Gail Tilden, and she was being interviewed by another one of your colleagues. And I looked at the transcript because I couldn't find the video. I went, Gail, and so, but I looked her up. She's not. She's invisible on
Oh
the
wow.
web, but her husband is not.
Ah.
And so I emailed her husband's email. Can you tell your wife I'd like to talk to
It's a
her?
bit awkward.
And
Yeah.
that, and so
Wow.
time went on, Sam, and he did. Thank goodness
Yeah.
he did. And then Gail, and she said, "Well, I know where so and so is, and so is." And I said, "You do?" And so
Oh wow.
I thought to contact you guys because I looked at your what you guys are trying to do, and I thought that's amazing. That's a wonderful
Thank you.
thing, and I'm at the right time to talk to you right now about it. So I guess that's part of it too, Sam, is that it's time to talk about it. I was always the last person to teach.
Okay.
I always felt really, I felt it would be irresponsible at 10 years, 20 years, 30 years but at the stage I'm at now, I feel like I can be accountable to teach you and or anyone else, illustrator, designer, at whatever level you're at. I teach kids in school. It's a
I
gas.
bet.
30-foot whiteboard, get their attention, get their trust. They're screaming at me. Their teacher always leaks. He did the Pokemon. And then they're, draw the Pokemon. No, we're going to do this first. But teaching them typography on the asphalt on the playground with a broom and a bucket of water in the
Oh
sun.
wow.
And then watch it disappear. And then it's your turn. You're going to draw your first character name.
Oh, that's
And just things like so they get to feel the motion, the energy of typography.
wow.
So these types of things I love to do. So yeah, it was time to come out. So I was blessed to have this interview with you, Sam, and your audience's
Thank you.
interest. Thank you so much. Someone asked me, "Do you want money or something? You want to have money and money, money?" I said, "No, I just wanted to be accountable and let's set the record
Yeah.
straight." So the people that are
Yeah.
fans can say, "This is a fact." I was talking to Gail about Time Magazine putting out this thing on Pokemon, these 3 special
Yeah.
editions. And I said, "Did you notice that? Did you look at that?" She went, "I won't tell you what she said," but she goes, "It's amazing how everything was omitted or switched around wrong." And of course, she's not
Yeah.
involved, and so I wasn't involved. We weren't mentioned, and the wrong person was given credit again. So that's why I think it's time for the people that are truly inspired by extending this extension of their own power into the game it should have a little sacredness to it, a little sanctisanct to say, this is the truth about what you
Yeah.
believe in. Instead of, let's go on Google and see who's the designer today.
Yeah. I really appreciate you coming and speaking to me about it as well and giving me the opportunity to hear your side. And I'm just a massive Pokemon fan, but to the audience that I'm hoping we reach online, as you say, it just sets the record straight. You can clearly see all of your designs, everything on there as well. I really appreciate it. One last thing that I was thinking, and I wanted to ask you before we go was, and I do this with all the guests, so sorry to put you on the spot. If you could name this episode, it's going onto YouTube and it's going out there, and it's your story. If you could name this episode, what would you name it?
Well, I always felt this about creating the Pokemon and other titles for Nintendo, but the Pokemon especially because of what it became, to honestly empower people with it from our innocence is our power. And so I'd like to say, in the eyes of a child.
Brilliant. Lovely. That's really nice. And I think one of the other things as well that I see from yourself is that it's the passion and the structure you have really over the decades is still, that's your purpose, all what you call it, your heart, all of it is there continuously and is evident to see. And I think there's a lot in that people don't necessarily know or haven't found that yet. And I think this is an inspirational story, even on just on that side of things as well, separate from the Pokemon thing, just as a person to talk to. So
Oh,
thank you.
oh, you're most welcome, and I appreciate your thoroughness, Sam. It's been enjoyable speaking to you. Yeah, I won't stop. It's just like every day you wake up and it's like, what about
Yeah,
this? So
fantastic.
yeah, it's always going.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much. I really do appreciate your time, and thank you, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam, for staying up so late.
No problem.
I appreciate it so
Bless
much.
you.